Hello, today we're going to learn about proportional division. We need to be able to simplify a ratio, translate a question into a bar model, and share between more than two people using a ratio. For the do now, can you write these questions down, and can you write each of these ratios in its simplest form? Pause the video while you have a go, press play when you're ready to see the answer. The answers are on the screen. Can you mark those, please? And press play when you're ready to move on. The outcomes for today, I've already talked through those. You can pause the video and have a read of those again. And for the starter, I'd like you to write down each of these ratio in the question, and can you write them in the form 1 to n? Think back to last lesson. That's where we're trying to make the number on the left become 1. So for the first one, you're going to have to divide both numbers by 2. And the star question at the bottom. Pause the video while you have a go. Press play when you're ready to move on. Here are the answers. Mark those, please. And let's move on to proportional division. So sometimes we need to divide something in a given ratio. So as a quick example, Malcolm and Alison share the profits from their business in the ratio 2 to 3. This means that out of every £5 profit, Malcolm gets £2 and Alison gets £3. So they're splitting this profit according to the ratio. And let's have a look at an example for this. Example number 1. Write down the question onto whatever you're using, your paper or your tablet, computer. Julie and Jack run a stall at a car boot sale and take a total of £90. They share the money in the ratio 4 to 5. How much does each receive? And the method I'm going to show you first of all is what we call a bar model. So hopefully you've seen those at some time before while you were at school. And we're going to start our bar model with names. So the people it talks about in the question are Julie and Jack. So we can write those, Julie and Jack. And I'm just going to shorten that a little bit just to save me a little bit of time. Once I've got the names written down, I can then start to draw the bars. When we read the question, it tells us Julie and then Jack. And when we read the ratio, it's in the same order. So Julie and Jack and Julie and Jack. So Julie has 4 parts, Jack has 5 parts. And on our bar, Julie's going to have 4 blocks, while Jack has 5 blocks. So 4 squares there for Julie, 5 squares for Jack. And the last thing I need to do for my bar model is write down the total. The total amount of money that Julie and Jack will have is £90, and that's in the question. Now that I've set up my bar model, this question is going to become slightly easier to work out. And our first bit of working out is to write down that 9 blocks, I can count these up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 blocks equals 90. So these 9 blocks here equal this amount of money. And what I want to do is work out how much one block is going to be worth. And to figure that out, I need to divide 9 blocks by 9 to get 1 block. And I also divide the other side by 9 as well. So 1 block equals £10. I've divided that by 9. Now that I've figured out what 1 block is equal to, I can write £10 inside each block. Now I'm going to use a new diagram to show this, but you can draw it on your old diagram that you would have already drawn back at the start. So you can start filling out each square with 10. I've just done a separate diagram to make it easier for you to follow the whole structure on the screen, but you can write these 10s in your previous diagram that you would have drawn. Now that I've done that, come back to the question, how much money does each receive? All I need to do now is look at... Oh, sorry about that. All I need to do now is look at Julie and see how much money she received and count inside each block. So I've got 10, 20, 30, 40. So Julie gets £40. There we go. And how much does Jack get? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Jack gets £50. And we've answered this question now. So we've taken our total 90 and we've split it up using the ratio 4:5, and we find out that Julie gets £40 and Jack gets 50. Pause the video while you finish copying that down. Press play when you're ready to move on. Staying on the same example, example 1, I'm going to show you a different method that doesn't use bar models, and it's up to you which one you prefer to use to answer the questions later on. So the same question, Julie and Jack sharing £90 in the ratio 4:5. So, as the ratio is 4:5, our first step is to add these numbers together to see how many parts 90 is being divided into. So 4 plus 5 is 9, so 9 parts are needed. We've just added together the 4 and the 5 to get 9. Now that we've figured out that it's 9 parts, we divide the total by 9. So our total was £90, and we need to divide 90 by 9. So each part is worth £10. And looking back at the ratio, Julie gets 4 parts. So 4 parts at £10 is the same as 4 multiplied by 10, and Julie gets 40. So this is the same answer that we got on the previous slide, but just a different method. Jack gets 5 parts, we can see that on the ratio, at £10. So 5 multiplied by 10 is 50. And Julie gets 40, Jack gets 50. That's what we already figured out, so that works perfectly. Okay, example number 2. This question is slightly different because now we've got 3 people and 3 parts to our ratio. Rachel, Ben and Emma are given £52. They decide to divide the money in the ratio of their ages, 10, 9, 7. How much does each receive? So again, the order of the people, Rachel, Ben and Emma, and the ratio is in the same order. So this bit's Rachel, this bit's Ben, and this bit's Emma. Now I'm going to show you the bar model method because I think it's really good for when we're just starting out to learn these, and then after that there's going to be some questions. So make sure you've got the question written down, And to start the bar model, the same as the last one, I need to start with the names. So I've got Rachel, Ben, and Emma. I'm then going to draw the bars for each person. So Rachel's going to be 10 squares, Ben's going to be 9 squares, and Emma's going to be 7 squares. Like that. Now take your time with those, make sure the squares are the same size, because it's really important that those are going to be equal to each other. So I've got my bars, I've got my names. The last part that I need to write on is my total, £52. So all of this added together is 52. Thinking back to the last example, my next step was to count how many squares have I got. So this is 10. The next row is 9, so that's 19. And the bottom row, another 7. It's going to be 26. So 26 blocks equals 52. 26 blocks equals 52. I'm going to find one block. And to do that, to make 26 into 1, I divide by 26. And I do that to both sides. So I'm going to divide this side by 26 and this side by 26. So 1 block equals £2. My next step, thinking back to the last example, 1 block equals 2. So in each square, I can write down £2. And again, if you've already drawn this diagram, you can write £2 into this original diagram. I'm going to write it on a new diagram. And you should end up with something like this. The last thing I need to do is find out how much does each receive. So we'll start with Rachel. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So Rachel gets £20. Next person, Ben. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Ben gets £18. And the last one, Emma. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Emma gets £14. And we could double check these answers. If we add up 14, 18 and 20, we should get 52, because that was how much they were sharing out. Pause the video while you finish copying that down and press play when you're ready to see some practice questions. Okay, practice questions are on the screen. Pause them while you have a go and press play when you're ready to move on to the next set of questions. On the next slide is going to be the answers. So make sure you've got an answer for the ones that you can do, and then press play when you're ready to move on. The answers are on the screen. Can you mark the ones that you've done? And that's it for this video.